it also aligns your chakras, and there's a lot of benefit to this. So how does it actually work? It's quite simple. The ball is a three-dimensional object. It occupies the right-hand portion of your brain. Your brain sees three-dimensional objects in the right-hand side. That's where it recognizes them. The left-hand side of your brain is occupied by colors and symbols. I think if we can meet, there we go. Oh, okay. So the left brain in this exercise is occupied by the colors and symbols. These colors and symbols on the CognoMovement ball happen to be the same as these, what they call your chakras. Your chakras are these energy centers that have been known for millennia in the East, and they're basically kind of plexuses that have everything to do with everything in your life, which I assume everybody on this already knows what that is. So how do we actually do this exercise? The way we do it is we simply focus on an issue, and then we completely involve ourselves in that issue. Now, this issue, I say issue because that's kind of the downside, right? Problems. There's an upside as well. Maybe it's something you want to manifest, or maybe it's a desire that you wish you didn't have, like chocolate or something. But anyway, you completely involve yourself in that. You focus on this thing, whatever that thing is, and you throw the ball left, right. You catch it with both hands, the ball, and while saying the color you see. And that's the exercise. It's very simple. You can do it with a partner, or you can do it by yourself. There's more information on that on the website, and there's obviously, we actually have all the training videos are on the membership area of CognoMovement.com. So if you already got it, then you already got it. You got your, you just log on there. And I recommend that you follow along on the exercise videos. So moving along, how does this thing actually make our life better? It can do many, many things, but there's only certain things I'm allowed to talk about with the FDA, given that this is what they call a general wellness device and it's low risk. So within those parameters, what I can say is that it will reduce the stress that you have. So there's all kinds of things that are underlying your stress, guilt, grief, resentments, those kind of things all have everything to do, and your judgments have everything to do with your stress. These stresses are what I like to call they're features of the third dimension, which I'm going to get into here today, because this particular presentation is about how do we move out of the lower dimensions into the higher, and what's all that about? It can reduce issues underlying our weight. A lot of things we'll do is like emotional eating and that sort of thing, or cravings, and we don't know why we crave certain things, and we can make that actually go away. It is basically a very natural, we stimulate a very natural thing in you, which is the ability to process. Your physical body can force your mind to process what it cannot. This here, what you're seeing on the screen right now, is something that I have developed over the past decade, and that was all these understandings that came to me, and I call this the MOAL, M-O-A-L, or Map of Awareness Levels. And right here you can see that we've got this divided out into different dimensions. Different dimensions have, sorry about that. The dimensions have different type of characteristics, if you will. There's a third, fourth, and fifth dimensions primarily that we're going to be focused on. So with this map of level of awareness, I like to start off and just talk about, what do you experience in the fifth dimension? By the way, most of humanity, and I mean most, it's well over 90%, is all in the third dimension. In the fifth dimension here, your experience is peace, bliss, joy, and pure consciousness. And that, when you're in that state, all kinds of things happen. The most significant one that starts to really show itself is instantaneous creation without resistance. Now, that sounds really great, right? It's like, wow, I can make things happen just instantly. I think it, and boom, it happens. It sounds pretty cool, but I had to tell a couple stories about this, because it's once you kind of reach that level, or you jump into that level, it can be kind of disconcerting. And by that I mean, for example, there was this one master I know who is, and this is in this, right here, right now, present day. She was cleaning her stovetop, and she was like, this stovetop's so old and stuff's coming off, and that the little, she wasn't too happy with the stovetop. Anyway, bottom line is she ends up kind of like, I don't like this thing. Walks out of the room. All of a sudden, the thing's on fire. The stove's on fire. Calls 911. The fire department comes. They put it out, unplug it, get the circuit breaker. Say, you got to call an electrician. It was an electric stovetop. So ends up the electrician comes out, and he comes in and say, yeah, this stovetop, we've got an electrical issue here. And she's in the room with him, and the stove lights up. It lights up, and he's like, gosh, it's unplugged. What the heck? Where's it getting its power? And so he's kind of like, oh, what do I do? The circuit breaker's off. He's looking around for the connection. She leaves the room. The thing goes off, right? And then she didn't realize, she comes back in the room, and it flares on again. So anyway, at that point, she realized, oh, it's me. You have to watch your feelings, and by that I mean that in what we call the fourth dimension, this is what I like to call the area of the training wheels. And it's where I spend the most time working with people to help them to move from the third dimension to the fourth, and get the training wheels on the bike, and then eventually we take the training wheels off the bike. The aspect of the the fourth dimension, is that you're one of the things that happens, instead of it being instantaneous creation, you have the ability to create, for lack of a better term, miracles quickly, or very quickly manifest things. I have to say that I just wouldn't have believed any of this until I experienced it, and that kind of goes with everybody. Things are really never true for us till they're true in our experience, and by that I mean that most of us, right, well over 90 into the 90 percentile, all live down in this third dimension. And how do you know that you're in the third dimension? One of the most obvious ways is that things are happening to me or through me through kind of a force of will. Everything happens because I'm pounding it out and I'm making it happen manually. And if you told somebody down in the third dimension, now you can, there's an easier way, right? the things are happening through force in the third dimension. They can actually happen much easier as I elevate my understandings. So my understandings in the third dimension, you're in part of it when there's a focus on rules, laws, regulations, yours and mine, separation. You experience fear and anger and shame and humiliation, these despair and apathy, these type of things over here. We have an extremely limited ability to create any sort of miracles. So the point of the seminars I do, we got one coming up next month, is to help you to move all of the things out of that are keeping you drawn down into the third dimension. So in the third dimension, things are reactionary. So if I can help you so that you're not in a place of reaction and you're in a place of choice, and these reactions, right, are all over here. If you find yourself in any of these right over here, they're not choices, they're reactions. And well, for example, forgiveness is actually a choice. But people find themselves in a place that, hey, I can't forgive. You don't understand how horrific this was and what this person continues to do, that sort of thing. That's where really CognoMovement comes in. In CognoMovement and some of the other techniques that we learn as under the umbrella of CognoMovement in the seminars is where we don't have to try anymore. We can actually let ourselves feel the resentment, do a physical exercise, and I don't feel the resentment anymore. And also that thing becomes unstuck in one of these chakras. So that is kind of where we have CognoMovement, which we have a map, right? The map of the levels of awareness, and we also have a tool to work ourselves up through the different dimensions. I like to say that none of this is going to be real for you till it's real in your experience. And I love this other story. This story is really funny because it's about a nun and a priest. And this is an absolutely true story, and I've actually witnessed the product of this. So there's a nun, and this is back in the 80s, right? Where the whole thing about manifesting really had just kind of started. People really didn't know about it. This nun is sitting in the rectory with the priest, and she says, "Hey, you can manifest things." And the priest, he's what? You can't do that. There's no way you can do that. You could just think about it and put yourself in this frame of mind, and then it happens. And he goes, no. And anyway, so she says, okay, you give me something. You tell me what I should manifest, and I'll do it. Okay? And then you'll believe. And he goes, okay, all right, a boom box. That's very, very 80s, right? A boom box, right? So literally, no joke, literally just there. It's like, she's just, okay, all right, I got to go to class. And he's like, all right. He goes and teaches class. Anyway, for the period of time she's gone, which is just one class, comes back. In the meantime, bing bong over at the rectory. Yes. Hi. Is the nun here? And no, not here. Hey, could you give this to her? I got this. And the guy takes in the box, and it's like, okay, and puts the box down. Nun comes back and walks in. He goes, hey, somebody came by. He said, box is over here. And so it's, oh, box. Oh, it opens the box. It's all gift wrapped and everything. And anyway, she's like, it's, oh, it's a boom box. Oh, it's a nice one. Look at that. Anyway, it was just so, it was so funny to hear that story. And now, basically, I guess it's opening the door to a new awareness for that priest. The just an interesting side note, which many years later, I met the woman who bought the boombox, and I said, hey, what was that like for you? You were the one who actually bought that boombox and brought it to the rectory. And she said, I was walking through Costco, and I guess back that day is what, Price Club, right? Price Club. And for people in the United States, it's kind of a mass warehouse of merchandise, right? She said, for what happened to her, she's walking through in her basket with her basket, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, look at that boombox! You know what? I think it would be perfect for this nun. Just perfect." Puts it in the basket, gets home, wraps it up, boom, goes over to the, So anyway, that's kind of what it materializes, if you will. But this is only one small little sliver of aspect of the benefits of moving through dimensions. Manifesting is just one benefit. It's more of like a peripheral consequence that happens, but with real life benefit. When this one of the first incidents that happened to me was when I, many years ago, probably, now a decade ago, my first experience was I was in that state, and I got a pizza, and I was downtown San Diego at the time, but I was way far away, and in, traffic time, right when everybody gets off work, so there's lots of traffic. Anyway, certainly wanted I didn't want to eat cold pizza, so I was like, oh, green lights would be great. I can't tell you how many, but from the moment I left that pizza joint to home, it was green lights, every single one to the very last one, and I was laughing the whole way. And the funny thing is that I jumped into the fourth dimension, right? So you find this happy place, this happy, allowing place is just one of the features of the fourth dimension. And when you get yourself kind of into that place without being kind of pulled back down into these other things, like I was no longer afraid of eating cold pizza, right? Sounds like that's a stupid little fear, but you know what? That little stupid fear actually is the one that kind of draws you back down into those other dimensions. These things also have a lot to do with your ability to heal, right? And what I mean by that is that as you're moving up in these dimensions, everything is becoming more aligned with who you really are. And over here, I wanted to show you this because in the seminar that's coming up next month, we have contracted with SciTech Labs. It's a third-party laboratory who's going to be coming to the seminar, and I'm including it with all of the in this seminar later on. This is pretty expensive, so we're going to have to charge for it but this seminar I'm including it in this seminar. You'll be tested before and after, and the test is it shows you where your chakras are off, and for before and then after. So, but when you start the seminar and before you've actually done the CognoMovement and that sort of thing, you'll actually see, hey, here's where my chakras are and where they're off. And it also will show you your aura, and it will show you where not where the aura is got holes and that sort of thing in it, and then how all that relates to all of the organs. This little line around here is the amount of energy that is present for the appropriate organs and those sorts of things, because it all relates to these chakras. So for some of you that are active on CognoMovement already, you may find as you come into the seminar that, hey, you know, I'm already aligned. But you'll get this actual report from SciTech on your before and after results. So it's really a nice thing to be able to visually see what's actually happening with me. The seminar, like I say, is coming up. That'll be the July 14th, 15th. It's in San Diego. It's going to be on the water, right on the marina there, and I think you're going to find that not only are you going to be learning an awful lot about CognoMovement, but you're also going to learn an awful lot of the things, what I call secrets of the masters, that are things that, in addition to and supplement CognoMovement. What I'm really excited about is sharing those things and then having you guys share it with others. The last two things before I open it up for questions is, number one is I wanted to reach out to all of you because you're probably already CognoMovement users, and I want to encourage you to share the ball with your loved ones. And what I mean by that is you can do it in a really non-threatening way. You see they're in pain or whatever, and you say, hey, you know what? Whatever that thing is that you're feeling, we don't have to talk about it. Just feel it. Allow yourself to feel that. And then here, catch this ball and say the color. And just remind, hey, keep feeling that. Keep feeling it. Keep feeling it. And in that way, you can be an immense amount of service to them. They don't know how to get this out of their systems. It's stuck in one of their chakras somewhere, and you can be the person that frees them. And this is not a trivial thing. And by that I mean, we had a workshop here in San Diego Thursday night, and the people that came were, just how it worked out. They were in like 60s, 70s. And I told them, bring your biggest, baddest problem. And for both of them, these were lifelong things, literally from childhood. They went from like level 10 to 0 in that workshop. And these were things that they'd been fighting for their entire life. And you're basically mechanically helping the person to process this out of their energy system. A lot of times we're all forced up here and we're like, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't feel this way. But it's stuck. It's stuck down in their chakras. So you've got a tool that you can help your friends and your loved ones with. And you can do it so non-threatening. Just, hey, I don't even have to talk to you about it. Just feel it. Just feel that problem. And boom, 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 gone. Okay. Obviously, it's not that quick. It's, 15 to 30 minutes, something like that, whatever. Everybody's different. But take little breaks and check in on where it feels in the chakra system. When you notice that thing is gone from, let's say, wherever, solar plexus up to the throat, you've got that thing on the run. Just keep on going, and it'll move from the throat out, or it'll go down as well. Last thing, and then I'll open it up to questions. Is a plea. It's for sale on Amazon, and we really need customers' comments in the reference section. Is tell people your experience, whatever, however it went for you with CognoMovement. So if you could do that, it helps share the good word for other people. And with that, I'll open this up to any questions, comments, or anything that I can answer.
Okay, Bill, hold on a second, everybody, before you come on. I'm going to go ahead and open up for people, so you don't have to do that part of it. You can just answer the questions. But before we did, we had a chance to have a nice chat ahead of time. And I wanted to see if you would share this with everyone as well. We were talking about everyday life, those everyday problems that we have in our family and or just in our job, in our relationships, and how CognoMovement can literally change a state, change you in that moment. Would you share with us a little bit, that part of our chat?
Yeah, you know what? That was a good thing. I tend to start thinking about things in the big picture, the worst problems or major, manifest yourself a new, car, helicopter, whatever, things I like to go big with things. But the truth is, in the mundane, day to day, every day, day after day, all of us are sitting there with the problem of the day, right? Whatever that is. And what this thing is going to force you to do is, if you just, whatever that problem of the day is, and utilize your CognoMovement ball for that. Just focus on it and do the ball. You're going to find that you're processing whatever it is, and you're manually forcing whole brain activation and congruence, right? Because we're taking in moving data left and right brain, and we're activating both hemispheres of the brain. So you'll find that you have all these kind of very natural resolutions to your problem. The resolutions just become obvious. Unlike before, where it's kind of a churning, like, oh God, same thing, same day. And the reason that we have that is because we typically are on the left-hand portion of our brain, which is all those things from the third dimension, or the fear, or the resentment, or the whatever, or you're not in the creative side, right? So anyway, it creates this congruence, and the data is moving between the corpus callosum, the center line there, right where I part my hair.
I really appreciated this, Bill, and we were talking about it in a kind of a funny way. I call it BC, before CognoMovement, so problem solving before CognoMovement, BC, and after, and how you can wander around with your problems if you want to during the day. I was saying, when you're aggravated with your spouse and you want to kill their face, or you can do that for 3 or 4 days, or you can just take a break, use your CognoMovement ball, bounce it back and forth, and find resolution or centering, or even, a side of the problem where you need to make an adjustment. So personally, I really appreciate that about being able to change state so quickly with CognoMovement.
That is true. Perfect. That is absolutely perfect. You could wander around for days, weeks, months, and I was very much that way. I would wander around for months, weeks, in a particular state, especially, at work. If something went wrong at work, and, holding on to some feeling of injustice or whatever, and you're like, ugh. And anyway, it literally can be over in minutes, and with positive resolution.
Would you bring back the map of awareness just for a second?
There we go.
I would kind of like, just for everybody to see what I did. So we're talking about this. Will you show us on the map of awareness where I might be? When I'm in that state of wanting to kill my husband in the face for something, where would I be on that map of awareness?
So it's very interesting, right? Because it all kind of works together. It is, number one, it's a reaction, right? So you're in the third dimension, and you have a fear that they're going to do something that's going to impact you, or you could feel hopeless, or you could feel blame, right? Blame is a big one, right? If I'm in blaming, you're in the third. It's all of the things that go along with this, right? That there's all these things kind of happen completely intertwined. You're feeling like things are happening to you, or you have to force the other person to behave in a certain way. Your ego is completely intertwined with this. And that is, it only has three modes. You wanting, I want you to change. Thwarted wanting, I want you to change and you're not doing it. And so I have a feeling about that. And then there's also this indifference. So you're one of three states is where you find your ego. And I see, my viewpoint is I see in judgment. The characteristics here, or the overarching characteristics of the third dimension, yours and mine, limitations. I have fixed and rigid belief systems, always and never, and your strong reaction to the unwanted.
You know what really strikes me there as you're passing your cursor over, especially with this subject that we're talking about, like relationships, there's two sides, there's two people, it's yours and mine, we're separate.
Yes.
So now I have my tool, right? I have my CognoMovement tool. And so now I can do something different. And you shared with me something that really caught my attention. You said, now I have my training wheels at first, which move me where? So I start my process. I'm going to focus on the subject of wanting to kill my husband in the face, right? Back and forth. I'm going to look, I'm going to notice. What happens to me that will move me up this map of awareness?
So that's the weird thing about it. It is the opposite of what we've been taught all our lives, which is you gotta forgive them, you do this. Jesus said to forgive them, but actually, and it's so hard, it's conflicted, right? With this is feel the blame, feel the resentment completely. And what happens is, because we're activating both halves of the brain and we're activating where it's stuck in our chakra, and that stuck portion can have been kind of daisy chained to other events in my life, it kind of vacates it from my chakras, and I become completely desensitized to it. I just don't feel that way anymore. So forgiving the person is so natural because I don't feel the resentment. It's like, maybe I see their point of view, or maybe what I see really is that, you know what, I made a mountain out of a molehill. That just doesn't matter to me anymore. And I have other things. I'm, back on to focused on whatever other thing that I'm trying to create in my life. The thing is that you naturally, if you look here, your viewpoint, letting go of judgments and assumptions. And in the fourth dimension, this is the training wheels, right? I am letting go of my judgments and assumptions. But in the third dimension, I see others in judgment. They're good, they're bad, they're this, they're that. And here, as I let go of my judgments and my assumptions, then all of a sudden, I get these other benefits. Ability to create miracles quickly.
What I find interesting about this, and this is something else I shared with you, and we've talked about this a lot, is that, in the spiritual conversation, for those of us, who are online here and in this conversation, trying to raise awareness, trying to raise our vibration, trying to be in alignment, trying to be in the right place for manifesting, right? we know when we're pissed off and aggravated and wanting to kill someone in the face that we're really not in alignment, right? We're out of alignment, we're out of vibration. And we kind of have that nagging thing in the back of our mind that we shouldn't be that way, right?
Right.
And then we think, well, okay, I should be seeing this from maybe his point of view, or I should be forgiving him for whatever the insult he's, but I don't want to, right? Because I'm busy being mad at him, really?
Yeah.
So, I could go sit in meditation. I could, and I'm still going to argue with him in my mind.
Right.
What, for me, the CognoMovement tool, what's important about it and why I feel like it's so revolutionary is that I don't have to do that. I don't have to say, okay, I forgive you, even though I think you're a total jerk. Right. I can focus on the subject and I can fully feel as aggravated as I want to feel, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually have to work it out. The ball does the aligning for me, right?
That's right. And then as that alignment happens, epiphanies happen. It is, the yogis figured this stuff out a long time ago, and you can do a heck of a lot of yoga and yoga absolutely positively works. This is just a very high speed, ability to get there within very few minutes. But it's basically doing kind of the same thing, which is aligning and clearing so that the energy can flow.
So it's changing my state. So what the ball really does is help me get out of that aggravated state, creating a higher vibration. And then it's the higher vibration that allows the epiphanies, right?
Yeah, correct? It's a combination of things. Absence of the reactionary stuff here in the third dimension, and then as that energy flows, the things that you naturally are. You don't know about yourself yet, at least I didn't, but they will naturally emerge as you move up through these new understandings. They become so easy. When you're in the third dimension, you probably have heard many people say, oh, there's no such thing as unconditional love. No, blah, 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 blah. Maybe Jesus did it, but that is it. Well, actually, it is. It's actually much easier to get to than you might think. And in that, once experienced, you'll see, oh, God, why would I do it any other way? And that goes with every single level of understanding, which is another thing I go into in the seminar is notching up, walking up the ladder, and with each new step up the ladder is a new understanding, and that becomes a new truth.
Okay, so take me one more step. Take us all one more step. We're now shifted our state. I'm no longer irritated. I can see where maybe, I need to change some things, or maybe I've just softened. So now I'm there, right?
Right.
And I'm moving my ball back and forth, and I've shifted and I've raised my vibration. How can I, from that place, move into the fifth dimension a little bit? How can I move into a little bliss or joy or consciousness from this middle section?
Okay, all right. So with a degree of caution, because of the stories that I mentioned to you in the past, the fourth dimension is so important because when we jump into instantaneous creation, we're instantly creating, and I found myself. I got to tell this story. I found myself on the road. This is, I don't know, a couple years ago. I found myself on the road, and I was on the phone, and there was a guy that I had a business transaction with, who got a wrong idea. He got a wrong idea about me. It wasn't what he thought. And I'm on the road, and I'm trying to steer the conversation to, hey, you don't understand. That's not what I meant," type thing. Hey, I literally, my power steering goes out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm driving, and this is a new car. I was like, oh, power steering's going. Oh no, and I'm frustrated, right, with not being able to steer the conversation. So anyway, half an hour later down the road, because I'm trying to get to my destination, and I as soon as I get him to understand the situation differently, and I was like, oh, I feel better now that I'm not. Boom, power steering came right back online. And so my point is that be careful what you wish for. As we move dimensions, it's so important that we're not in reaction. But as we get out of reaction and we elevate ourselves into this peace and joy and acceptance of all, how do I do that? Your question is, how do I do that? And it is in utter and total forgiveness. And as a stepping stone is complete forgiveness, and then complete feeling of love for all, everyone.
So if I continue on through my process with my CognoMovement ball, continuing, so now I've moved past, I'm out of my aggravated state, right? I'm done being irritated. I've moved into willingness, optimism, and like you're saying, I can now have epiphanies, right? So now I'm feeling a little better, right? I'm done being aggravated. Now I'm up there in the fourth. Can I continue the same process to begin to even greater alignment? I mean, I think the reason I'm asking this too is, a lot of us in this spiritual conversation are, now talking about things like even ascension, where we're even more aware of the need to be constantly raising our vibration, or at least focusing on it. So if I can move, it's my thought that if I can move out of being aggravated and into willingness and acceptance and optimism there, right in the middle under the green, that maybe I could go a little further just in that one session and get up there into bliss and joy.
Yes, it's this is a gradient scale, by the way. It's more like a rainbow than firm delineated lines, right? And also you will jump in between. We are these things, you jump, maybe you're in the fourth, you'll find yourself getting pulled back into the third, and you'll find yourself jumping up to the fifth. So we all jump, right? And it's not fixed. The point is, it's not like a one-way ratchet. You with CognoMovement and some of the other techniques is you continually clear out the things that are drawing you back down into reaction.
Got it.
But here, under time, in the fifth dimension, all time is now. You heard this when people die, all time, everything is happening now. So mastering of every thought and emotion is paramount. For most people, we won't hit the fifth dimension until we actually die. But this mastery over all your thoughts and emotions is one of the things that's pretty much a requirement as you jump, because the question I always like to ask is, would you like to be standing next to you in the fifth dimension? With every thought you have instantly happening, right? You think it happens. So anyway, over here, time is malleable and things speed up, and you're more focused on the now. That is your path, one of the things that will help you.
So I want to thank you for that. Just that little walkthrough of even one problem. I think it's just such an amazing tool to be able to use just for that. And I know the map of awareness is really, it's really at the core of moving up and being in alignment and having vibration, and its understanding is huge, in my opinion. And I know we're going to cover that in the seminar in July, correct?
Yes.
So that'll be kind of a web that flows through all of the tools that you're going to share with us, correctly?
Yes.
Correctly. That's not a word, correct? Anyway, are you ready to move on and answer some questions from the forum?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to.
I've got
not only questions, but hey, everyone, anybody who's got a CognoMovement experience, one of the things I love is please, if you have something that you've tried it on, please share it out with the group, because this is a great place that you guys could share and say, this is what happened to me, and this is what I used it on, because that's the way we learn what else we can apply it to. We're constantly learning new things that you can actually do with this. So if you have one, please share it for everybody.
Oh, that's
Okay.
awesome. That'll be a lot of fun. So hold on just a second. I will open your window. It looks like Hala's open already. So also I have a list. I have Maxine, Joanne, and Kim Lee that have questions. So I'm going to since Hala's open, I'm going to have her go first. I don't know the topic of her question. So Hala, if you can open your mic.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, a couple of things. How many issues can you work on in a day? Unlimited, or, how many problems is good to work on in a day?
You know what? I tend to be aggressive, and I just, I do as much as I can, right? As much as I can. What you'll find is that, as you do these, you probably want to drink water, right? And because these shifts can be so dramatic. It's like I'm now 50 years old, and it's been since I was 5, and you move so much. A lot of times what'll happen is your body will talk to you, meaning, I got to go to bed. That was it. Most people become energized after it, or a sense of peace and well-being, but pay attention to your body.
Okay. It can be tiring.
Yeah. So some people just go to bed, type deal, and have to sleep it off.
Yes.
But as I love to say, as this one captain told me, this is no dress rehearsal, so this is the real deal. So do as much as you can, but yet listen to your body, drink lots of water, and get lots of rest.
Okay. And sometimes I like to do it at night when everyone is sleeping. And I was thinking, I wish, because I put a string on mine, and I'll throw it and I'll bring it back to myself. And I'm like, I wish there was on a little Nerf ball with a string, and you can toss it, bring it back to yourself.
Interesting.
Back and forth. So I thought I'd give you that idea. It works pretty good.
Oh.
And it's quiet.
Oh, well, yeah, because you're not pounding it against the wall.
Right. Oh. Right.
Nice idea.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you that.
Thank you.
I did. Sure. And I did it one night, and I was wanting to get some work. I'm already with the company. I'm a nurse. So after I did it, I said I wanted something easy. So they called me the next day, my job, and they said that they have an assignment for me. And it was easy physically, but it was kind of hard emotionally. I'm like, okay, I need to reword what I said to manifest fun, maybe, or not just easy, but so that I did get an assignment the next day.
Oh,
to go to work. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Where did you feel it? Did you feel it in your chakras and along the center line of your body? Did you feel a sensation?
I don't know, more up here, I think. Okay. I feel. Yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, it is. There you go. Wonderful. I love it. I love that you're utilizing it for manifesting. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, hold on. We're going to open Maxine next. Maxine, are you ready? Hold on, Maxine. I'm working on unmuting you. Can you unmute yourself, Maxine? You're there. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now?
We can. Can you put your camera on, Maxine?
Maybe not.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Not sure I am quite sure how, so maybe next time.
Okay.
Anyway, I have two questions. One, I was working with a young fellow the other day who has severe anxiety issues. And so my question is, we did one round and he went from a 7, which wasn't his highest, that he can get into panic attack. But he didn't want to go into a full-blown one while I was working with him. And he went down to a 5. And then I said, well, we need to do it again. And he wasn't at that point of wanting to do it again. So, I was pleased with the fact that he went from 7 to 5. And I felt like I followed up with him later that evening to see if he had any more results, but obviously he might not have been thinking about it. And he did go down. He said at that time he was at a 2. But so my question is, if they don't continue on with another session, I'm sure where they got to is okay. The reason I think he didn't want to go on is he was experiencing a lot of nausea, and the nausea was typical of how he can respond with his panic attacks.
Okay. All right. So he's got something, and it's very hard, right? So my experience specifically with the nausea and doing this is that I really encourage them to keep on going, because it is literally stuck in the 3rd chakra.
Yeah.
And as soon as we can get that moved out of that 3rd chakra, either up or down, we start to get where we're going to get real resolution instead of just a Band-Aid. So I would say if you can continue to do it, with him, but what I would do the next session is, instead of it being 15 minutes, I wouldn't tell him. I would just knock it out to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Don't stop and just keep going faster and faster, but set the timer for 30 minutes and
okay.
do it.
Okay. And then my other questions, I know, I originally learned from you about your technique on Regina Meredith's show, Open Minds on Gaia. And so during that show, she asked you about kind of group type sessions, be it at a corporation or something like that. And it's not at a work setting, because I work on remotely, but I do have a local setting where I'm the president of the board. Have you ever done anything more with group efforts? And if you did, would you suggest just working on yourself, working with each one individually, or can you pass the ball to everybody, each one thinking of their own issue?
So the way I've done it in the past is a few different options, right? One option is to have everybody gets a ball, and I like this way to do it because nobody's interfacing with anybody else, but everybody has a ball, and you're throwing it against the wall, kind of in a V. You throw it against the wall, you catch it over here, blue. Throw it, catch it over here, orange. And you have each person focus on their own thing, right? Yeah. And the important thing is in a contentious work situation is give everybody permission to have their point of view.
Right.
You feel how you feel, and I want you to feel that completely. That everybody else is a blah blah blah, and they're stupid, right? I'm smart, you're stupid. I'm right, you're wrong. Feel it. Yeah, you're good, you're right. Everybody's wrong, but I want you to really feel it. And what you find is that it's probably a 3rd chakra issue. Is that comes up and out, and then all of a sudden there's a real difference. So that is one thing, right? One way to do it. You can also have, like one-to-one, right? you two go together, you two go together. So each one has their, each team, 2 people at a time, have their own ball and do it together.
So that leads me, maybe this is what you're saying then. So if you're doing it 2 people together, each person could have their own issue.
Absolutely.
And throwing it to the other person the other way. And who keeps who honest on or targeted on their issue?
There is a moderator, and the moderator in the room says, move faster, make sure you're left and right, keep focused on your issue. People start laughing and like, hey, I've been playing a game, hey. Stay focused, on your issue, because they will. That is the whole thing. If they're not narrowed down into the one issue, their mind will go so fast. So you need somebody in command that is saying, stay on point. That's what kind of a moderator can do for an entire group, and making sure that they're going all the way left, right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's exciting and fun, and it's interesting to see what happens after the fact. Do it before the meeting and notice what happens.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah,
I'm going to try that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Maxine. We are going to move on to Joanne. Hold
Can
on.
I unmute my camera?
Yes, please. Are you there, Joanne? Hold on 1 second, please. Leah, if you happen to be there, can you unmute Joanne? Joanne, if you're able to unmute yourself, please. I'm just not seeing her. Okay, I'm not seeing Joanne. It looks like she may not be online right now. So if we could go ahead and move on to Kim Lee. Kim Lee, I am going to unmute you right this second. If you're there, Kim Lee.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, we can't see Bill yet though.
Can,
but at least I can't.
Yeah,
Bill, take the map of awareness down, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Share
Gosh, hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Stop sharing.
Stop sharing the screen, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm seeing Pat now.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you see
How
me?
are you?
Hi.
I can see you, yes.
Great. I played with the CognoMovement ball just once so far, and I found that I couldn't keep my mind on the problem, and I was trying to call the colors. So, do you have any suggestions if a person has to do it solo?
Yes. Well, my question is to you is, did you use the exercises that are under the membership area, the video?
Yes, I watched the video. I watched the video. Well, I watched some of them, and then I tried to follow them. And I was still having a little problem, like, okay, what was my problem again? This is this. And I go back to the colors, and I get distracted.
Okay. So in there's the introduction. When you go into the membership area of the CognoMovement website, there's the kind of the orientation. Over to the right, to the left side of the screen is it says exercises. If you click on that, there's divided out into 15-minute exercises.
I've seen those. And I've run through a few of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hit play and then do the exercise when it's playing?
I did for a while, then I couldn't follow it. Then I stopped it and I tried to do it in my head without the counting, because the counting was also distracting me. So,
Okay. Okay, so here I got another tip for you. This actually, thank you for bringing this up because it's been something I've been meaning to do on the website. If you go to YouTube, and there is on YouTube, and you type in a 15-minute timer with 1 minute beep or 30-second beep, right?
Let me write this down. 15-minute timer. Okay.
With a 1 minute beep. And what it'll do is that it'll go along for a minute, and then every, whatever it is, 30 seconds, you'll see a few timers down there. But you just hit play on it, and so every 15 seconds it's going to go beep, and that just reminds you, stay on point. Go back to the issue. All right? But you just need some sort of little reminder. Maybe my voice is too much, and just a little reminder, like go back to that one issue. And
okay, well, sorry, please finish.
What you're saying is definitely kind of the big challenge, and that is to stay focused on the issue and to say the colors at the same time. It's at the very first, if I was to graph it, it would be very, very hard to keep your focus on the issue and say the color as you're going left, right. And then in time, not only does it go and become less hard, towards the end of the 15 minutes, but you'll find naturally that you will move faster and faster.
Okay, so I really think I need more practice. But what I did eventually wind up doing was taking a sheet of paper and writing one word to remind me of the issue and sticking it on the wall, but I was throwing the ball. So that helped me to stay a little more focused. But by that time, I was getting pretty late. And I like the idea of the Nerf ball mentioned earlier because the ball was thumping against the wall. And I was wondering whether or not it was waking up my neighbor next door. So yeah, okay. I'll have to pick a better time to try that again.
Well, you know what? First of all, thank you for that. You just gave us all here, myself included, a new tool. We write the issue on a piece of paper, one word to keep you focused. If that helps, in between your throws to keep you focused. So thank you for that. Yes.
Well, I'm glad that you think it's helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. You're helping not only me, but you're helping everybody. Thank you. So one of the other things, and I'll share this because feedback from other users. Have you ever seen one of these? You get them; they're little trampolines.
Yeah.
It's maybe yay big. What you can do.
I had one.
Oh, you did. You can, and it tilts it off to an angle. You can throw the ball at the trampoline, and it'll return it to you. Okay.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I realize, especially in shared wall situation, that would be a better solution.
Okay. I do have another question.
Yes.
I was just kind of curious whether or not CognoMovement might trigger app reactions of some sort that we should be aware of, and if it does, how would we deal with that?
When you say reactions, what kind of reactions are you looking?
Basically, negative reactions, like the nausea mentioned earlier. Should we at that point maybe perhaps shift from maybe what the issue is and just focus on the nausea first, and then go back to the issue when that's cleared?
So my I really hate nausea. Like I think all of us do, right? It really.
Well, it's not a lovable thing.
That sucks. But what I would say is if you know that happens to be something that you tend to get, try not eating beforehand or eat very minimal amount beforehand. And I would muscle my way through it. And here's why. I've had some, what I'm going to call real severe cases where literally they're like starting to dry heave. as we're doing the exercise. And fortunately, I said, oh my gosh, she was like, I'm dry heaving, and I was like, should we stop here? You want to take a break? And she was, talk about motivated. She was like, no, we're gonna keep going, and we did, and we kept going, and it took maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but it moved up, and it moved up to her throat, and then she was like, she was crying and choking and sobbing and snotting and the whole and but again she kept after it, and it was gone, and that was really significant. That changed that person's life, which I got a bunch of letters from that helped change her life because it moved through a major trauma. So I would just say, if you can, keep muscling through it and keep going. Yes, anything along the center line, you'll notice absolutely reactions, because those chakras, these energy centers, they that issue is being clamped down, and it's kind of you're literally forcing that process to happen very quickly.
But actually, the ab reactions I was really concerned about with things, negative reactions which may occur after you're done with the exercise. Because I do several different other techniques, and some of them sometimes bring up these things in people. Rarely, but it could happen.
Sure.
So is this should it be something that you might want to warn the client about? Like, for example, you might feel a little off or something.
Anytime you start to release, right? I compare it to a hose. The hose was crimped, right? And there's muck in there, and you undid the crimp, and then the water started coming out, and the dirty water's, coming out. There can be things that happen after the fact. Kind of a next issue coming up. Typically the one that they get done with is done, and there might be something behind it coming up. I don't get, so far, right? I don't get a lot of that. If you, because there's an awful lot of alignment that happens during the process. But if you find something out, or you notice something, if you could, we're going to have more of these webinars. If you could share it or email me, and we'll share it with everybody,
Sure.
Hey, Bill, this is Liz. I just want to jump in here and say that this actually sounds a lot like a bigger question, a practitioner question, for people who are going to be working with other people. And it sounds like, Kimberly, you're a practitioner as well. In the September seminar in Puerto Vallarta, in the third day, in the practitioners section, we'll really be talking and expanding more about things that are going to be ongoing if you're working professionally with people. So you might want to consider that seminar as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We may move the location of that. There's been some people have said, oh, they didn't want to go international, so we may move that seminar in September to Southern California. Just for a heads up.
Okay, so Louise is next. I'm going to unmute Louise. She has actually a really cool idea. So here we go with Louise. Unmute.
Kimberly, thank you. And thank you for staying up way over there.
You're welcome.
I know you're muted, but thank you, Kimberly.
Okay, nope, that's wrong. Sorry. I'm trying here, guys. There we go. Louise, are you there? Louise? Louise, if you can unmute yourself, it's not wanting to let me unmute you. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be great. And Kimberly, if you would put your mute back on, I think we're getting some feedback there. Louise, if you can hear me, I'm it's not wanting to let me unmute you. So if you can unmute yourself. Or Leah, if you're there, can you unmute Louise? It does not want to let me unmute Louise. Louise, if you hear us, let us know. Okay, we're going to work on that just so everybody else isn't on hold. Rob, if you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll go back to Louise. We'll work on our technical problem.
Hi, I'm just wondering, of the two events that are coming up, what would be the most beneficial if you had to pick one over the other?
Good question. So if the first thing is that the current event, right, has the benefit of being sooner. So the sooner you are, the more benefit you'll get, and the techniques are really tremendous. You'll get the benefits of them right away. The second seminar has a last day, and that last day is basically for certification for practitioners. So if you do take the seminar, for example, the first seminar, and you still want to get your certification, on the second seminar, you can not only show up, to that seminar, you show up to the second seminar, and all you pay for is the last day of the second seminar. So you kind of have a 2-for-1. You'll have some review as well on the second seminar, but the last day that you pay for, if you're a practitioner on the second seminar, you get your certification as a practitioner.
So are the first 2 days identical then? Or are you covering different materials?
No, it'll be identical.
Okay.
First 2 days. Last day will be only in the second seminar and only for practitioners.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it looks like Louise is actually in a public space, so she can't answer us. So she gave me permission to read her question out loud. She said, I have a hard time focusing on my issue or goal when using the ball. So I end up spending most of my time on the colors. I started putting up a vision board right above the section of the wall where I'm bouncing the ball. So the vision board, and then bouncing the ball below it. Do you think that using a reminder like this is a good or bad idea?
Oh, it's a great idea. It's a great idea, and it kind of echoes Kim Lee a bit. So I love the idea. If that is what helps you to remain focused, then that is wonderful. The thing is that what I would encourage you to do is smell, taste, touch, feel, hear. All of your 5 senses. Let's say, for example, that whatever this thing is, right? Let's say it's a new yacht. You're like, oh, I chose that one. I like boats and stuff. So anyway, you hear the sounds, you smell the smell, you know, if you have a taste with it, the vision, and if that picture helps you to be in that, then do the ball as you're in that. The most important thing is that you're completely in it. The colors, the colors, let's say if you can keep 10% of your attention on the colors and saying the color, and 90% being in that picture, right? If you can't generate the picture in your mind, seeing it, seeing that picture, and that enabling you to be in that as if it's now, that is very, very powerful. And we're going to talk about that a lot at the seminar, and about what happens what happens in your aura and your chakras when you're manifesting. In just a 2-second blurb on that is that it's very fuzzy and not very firm in your aura out there, way physically way out there. And as it becomes closer to being manifested, it physically in your aura, it becomes more firm and more defined, and it physically becomes closer to you. So we're going to talk about that and how that looks and feels.
So Bill, in preparation for, first of all, I want to thank Louise because that is a cool idea. The vision board, especially for the manifesting part, that's amazing, right?
I love it.
I love it too. So I want to ask you this, when people come to the seminars, how many of the things that they want to clear should they bring with them? Like, how should they prepare to come to the seminar?
So that is a really good question. So I ask you to bring to the seminar your 5 biggest things. And I mean, what I mean by that is before you get to the seminar, write down the 5 things that if you left that seminar and that thing had changed, then, and that could be, something that happened in your childhood. It could be how you feel about yourself. It could be whatever it is, the big, huge things that you've struggled with your whole life. Bring those 5 things with you. And we're going to see what we can do about you leaving the seminar without those.
So are there any criteria for those? I mean, it can only be about yourself. Can it be about another person? If it is about another person, are there parameters? Like, what are the rules?
The rule is there is no rule. For most of us, it's about somebody else or some other situation. Some of us are aware enough that it's, about us, and or maybe we've turned that gun on ourselves, so to speak. But just you feel how you feel about it, and we're no longer fighting it. We're going to hit it head on and see what we can do to make it go away.
Great. So before we wrap this up, does anybody else have any final questions? I'll give you just a couple seconds here to think about it. And if you do, go ahead and just open your window. I see. Janelle, is that you? Would you like to, are you wanting to say something, or have you just joined us? I'm not getting anything. I think we're just seeing her photo. So a couple of things Leah just posted for us. I really want to encourage everyone to join the community. Bill McKenna are the only lesson online, as well as CognoMovement on Facebook. Leah shared the communities in our chat, so copy and paste those. There's Bill McKenna events where you can find out about things that are happening in Bill's local area, which is San Diego. Occasionally there are little workshops, smaller things other than the big seminars. The information about the seminars is there. If you're going to join us, we've got information about hotels and that kind of thing, a map of the area. And Bill's book, The Only Lesson. If you have not read Bill's book yet, I highly encourage you to. It's a fun book. It's a fun read. And it's a great backstory on how Bill got to where he is, and probably one of the big reasons that he came to this, excuse me, came to this invention. Any final words, Bill?
Janelle, I see you're no longer muted. I can see your, hi, Janelle.
Hi.
Well, there she is.
Can I answer any questions for you? No, I guess not. Okay. Well, Janelle, thank you. And if you, I can't hear you, so okay. anyway, hey, hope to see you at the seminar. If you could put something on Amazon, as you know, do a product review, that would be great, because we need to kind of spread the word. And again, spread the love with your loved ones, in that help them to knock out their biggest issue. Again, you don't have to even ask them what it is. Just allow them to feel it, and help them out to be free of that. It's helping you as well. If you're living with somebody with issues, you get to experience them, whether they're saying them or not. So, okay. Thank you so much. Leah, Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you for making all this happen. I appreciate it.
All right, Bill, thanks so much for all the information, and continue the conversation, guys. You can ask questions if you think of them as they come up. Bill McKenna events at gmail.com, or CognoMovement@gmail.com as well. And we'll do this all again real soon. Oh,
thank
Bill,
you.
a discount on the seminar. There's a 20%.
Oh, 20% off.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, if you guys want to join the seminar, please take advantage of that. If you don't see the link on the chat, message us. We'll get that out to you right away, but it's only available for those who have attended the webinars, and a friend, if you wish. So please take advantage of that.
You also have you get the testing with the from SciTech Labs. You're going to get tested as well.
Maxine,
just with your fingers, we're not going to draw blood.
Yeah, and Maxine, so you know, there is the 20% discount is extended to the September seminar, except for that the location may be changed to Southern California. However, there will be a charge for the testing at the September seminar, which it's included in the July one. Bill arranged to get us that for free for those who sign up for the July event.
Oh, hey, hi, Robin.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, well, it was just fortuitous that you came on after the seminar is done. So anyway, thank you for taking a couple minutes. You had a couple of experiences. Can you just tell us what happened? You had a thing. Go ahead and tell me about you said chips, and then also the Chick-fil-A thing. And
Yes, so I was doing it for chips, and when I was doing it the whole time, we did it the same way with your video on the TV to time us, and all I could think about though were tortilla chips and guacamole. Like, that's all, even though I love potato chips, but I was just thinking about tortilla chips. And I did that. However, when I did mine, I felt mine in my throat, and it just got real hot in my throat, and then I just kept going. Then I got really thirsty, but I just kept going, and I probably started at a 10 with chips. Like, every day I have to have chips, and when I finished, I kind of felt like maybe like a 3 or so. However, as the week went on, I had no chips. My husband brought home chips and guacamole, which he never does. And I had a couple, and that was it. So since that time, which is over a week ago, I haven't had any tortilla chips and guacamole. But unfortunately, I've been wanting regular potato chips. So when I was doing the Cogno Ball, I was thinking about the tortilla chips and not about potato chips. So I think I need to do it again with potato chips.
It might even surprise you that the potato chips might be somewhere else too in your chakras. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But question. When your husband brought home the chips and guacamole, you notice the enjoyment, you know, kind of the what we call oodles of pleasure, meaning how much enjoyment you got out of the chips. Did you notice that you got the exact same amount of pleasure, or it just didn't taste as the same, or what, did it taste the same or not, or what was your experience when you did eat it?
I ate it then because I felt obligated to eat it,
Okay.
and that's what I'm used to doing, but there was not the enjoyment. And there was, you know, the taste I think was the same.
Yeah.
But I just didn't before I was it was almost an uninsatiable kind of need for the chips and guac. Just had to have more and more and more. And this time he brought it was from La Hacienda, and they had 2 big giant scoops of guacamole and 3 bags of tortilla chips. Normally I'd go through a whole bag, you know, that same sitting.
Sure.
And there's still 2 bags sitting in the kitchen now.
How long has it been? How long has it been for you now?
It's just been a couple of weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty recent. All
yes,
right.
yes.
Okay. You probably haven't noticed, you know, any difference in how your clothing fits or anything like that.
How I'm what?
How your clothing fits, meaning, you know, the first signs of weight loss.
Slightly, absolutely. Yes. Now that you ask me, yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's how
I haven't gotten on the scale.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's very, it's just a little bit at a time. Wonderful. Oh my God. So tell me about the whole thing with your, the other Chick-fil-A and the daughter and that. Tell us about that.
Yes. So my niece was here to visit for a week, and she's in college in Texas. And I told her about the Cogno ball. It came in the mail when she was here. And so that was the last week in May. So that's when I got the ball.
Okay. All right.
And so we did that for Chick-fil-A. She loves Chick-fil-A, and she has to have it pretty much like every day. At her school, it's one of the choices for them to eat in the cafeteria area. And she says, I eat Chick-fil-A all the time. I just love that sweet tasting chicken. I said, oh, they soak it in sugar. I'm sure they do. And she just loves it. And I said, okay, let's do the Cogno ball for that. And we did it for the 15 minutes with your tape playing. And I loved it when you said, okay, keep going. You're halfway through, you know, keep going. So we kept going. While she was doing it, about 10 minutes in, she got a stomach ache, like a really intense stomach ache. She said, oh my God, I want to sit down. Oh my goodness, my stomach hurts so bad. And I remember what you said. You said, you just have to work through it and keep going. And so I said, just keep going. Just 5 more minutes, just keep going. She did, it went away. And she started probably about an 8 or a 9, she said. And when she was done, she was at about a 4. Yeah. However, when she went to school, which was the real test, she said, I had Chick-fil-A once, and I haven't had it very much, if at all. So it's probably gone down further than the 4, if you ask me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's just, I love it. I love that you actually did it. You did the exercise, and you know, the important thing that you said, you know, you just allowed yourself to really enjoy the guacamole and that sort of thing. And I love that part of the story. I also love that you know, you watched all the instruction and you knew when the pain starts to keep muscling through it.
Yes.
Everybody wants to stop when those terrible feelings happen in their center line. So anyway, awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you for listening and coming up with something so fabulous to help so many people.
Yeah, it really, it's you know, it's kind of a crazy that it works, but it does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.